Spike. I've made it no secret that I'd like to see more development for his character. Some episodes that focus on his best qualities, rather than seeing him give in to his more childish tendencies time and time again. I made a whole video on this subject with Silverquill last year, where we even came up with story ideas that would show Spike at his absolute best. Because when you look back at all his appearances throughout MLP, his greatest moments tend to happen when he isn't the main focus of the story. Especially when it comes to serving Twilight, easing her paranoia and even going to fetch help during Lesson 0, risking his life while trying to follow Twilight's orders to the letter during the Crystal Empire episodes. And as much as some of us might not think the first Equestria Girls film could measure up to the original series, you have to admit that Spike's portrayal was a good deal better than most of his other appearances. I think Silverquill put it best when he said, "In episodes like Owl's Well That Ends Well, Just for Sidekicks and Secret of My Excess, Spike was the source of the conflict. We couldn't really root for him because we were waiting for karma to catch up." So that got me to thinking, why? Why is it that when Spike actually wants something outside of service to Twilight does his luck change? Why does he become less likable, less competent, less of a good character? Well, to be honest, it encourages a good set of morals when a character who acts selfishly is punished and one who acts selflessly is rewarded. But what if I was to tell you that there may actually be an in-universe reason for Spike's karma, so to speak? Something rather unintentional, but quite intriguing if it turned out to be true. Think back to all the moments when Spike was acting selflessly. Was he always so competent and likable when he was in service to others? Actually, no. There is a very relevant example where this isn't the case. Spike at your service. After being saved by Applejack, Spike pledges a lifetime of servitude and even puts aside his duties for Twilight. And suddenly, he's making a mess of Applejack's house, ruining food when we know he has a talent for baking, and generally being less competent than what we've come to expect from him. There were some things he did right, but it really doesn't make sense for him to suddenly lose so much skill in serving others. Or does it? What if Spike is only his most competent when he's in the service of Twilight? Think about it. In all of Spike's appearances, his best moments were always in service to Twilight. But why is that? What could explain such a seemingly random element? How about a seemingly random burst of magical energy? Like, say, from a young Twilight Sparkle who didn't really know what she was doing at the time. We saw just how much raw power she was displaying, not only turning Spike into a giant, but also turning her parents into plants. Of course, Celestia arrives and everything goes back to normal, but what if not everything had changed back to the way it was? After all, Spike was hatched from his egg due to Twilight's magic, but didn't go back into that egg once she powered down. What if, during this random burst of energy, Twilight cast a spell that bound Spike to her, made him into a familiar of sorts, and as long as Spike is serving Twilight in her endeavors, he benefits from this magical bond. And if Spike should seek after his own needs, or put aside his duties to Twilight, this magical bond begins to fail and Spike's karma starts catching up with him. If this really was the case, without Twilight, Spike, or even Celestia realizing it had happened, does that mean Spike really can't have a life of his own without Twilight? Can Spike ever really have what he wants if it's not what Twilight wants? It would put their relationship in a different light for sure, but it is obvious that Twilight and Spike sincerely care for one another. In many ways, Twilight is the only family Spike has ever really had, and I wouldn't think any less of Twilight considering her genuine care for her #1 assistant. Though you have to admit, there could be more of a connection here than anyone has ever realized. What do you think? Considering all of Spike's previous appearances, do you believe there is any kind of pattern to his behavior and the resulting consequences? Is it possible that Twilight unintentionally created a magical bond with Spike in their youth? And if so, what could that mean for their future? I would like to hear your thoughts on these ideas, and here's hoping for some future episodes that show Spike at his absolute best. I am Dr. Wolf, and I look forward to hearing from you.